Here is a problem that most programmers don't realize that they have. They have a mouse and a keyboard, and when they're typing, they start typing on the keyboard with both hands, and then when they need to go and click on something, move the cursor, they use the mouse to click around, and then they go back to typing. And pay attention and watch yourself. How many times do you do this? You'll do this several times a minute, actually, most minutes. And so I'm going to show you a way to circumvent this problem using a simple plugin to VS Code. Alright, and you may not believe me, but this is going to give you up to a 2x improvement in your programming speed, sometimes even more than that. So let's take a look. Alright, so here I am in VS Code in just a regular project. And what I'm going to do is go over here to the left-hand side and click on the extensions icon, and then search for Vim. Okay, so Vim is pronounced Vim or Vi improved. This video is going to be a tutorial about using Vim inside of VS Code. And so what you're going to want to do is install this guy, so just install it, and you will need to relaunch VS Code. Alright, and once you've done both of those things, go over here and open just one of the files, maybe some file for testing for now. And then don't be freaked out, because if you start typing characters, it's not going to do anything. I recommend just watching most of the video first so you don't screw anything up, because some of these commands can do interesting things like delete code and stuff. Anyways, so Vim stands for Vi improved, and Vi stands for visual, so it's kind of a visual code editor. Alright, and it was developed in order to help programmers edit files on remote computers, so they could edit a file that was on a different computer, and they could do it all from the command line. So if you're on a Mac or Linux computer, you should be able to run Vi and then like test.txt or something like that, and that will simply open up a file. And this one I've already created actually, and you can edit this file and so forth. So that's the purpose of Vi, is to edit files on remote servers, but we can actually use it inside of VS Code in order to speed up our programming speed. So in Vi there are two modes. There is insert mode and there is command mode. So in Vi we start out here in what's called command mode, and command mode means I can use H, J, K, and L to move around on the screen. So H goes left, L goes right, K goes up, and J goes down. So I can tap these keys or hold them down if I want to go rapidly or slowly. So H is left, L is right, K is up, and J is down. Alright, and this is all again in command mode. Now the other important mode is called insert mode. So once I've navigated to somewhere where I would like to insert some code, type in some characters, I can press I, and now the cursor changes from that blocky looking thing like this to a more of a straight line or a bar symbol. Okay, and this is what's called insert mode. So when I'm in insert mode, I can type characters, and these characters will simply be like regular characters, like I'm typing on a normal keyboard, like a normal text editor. And then if I ever want to leave insert mode, I can just press escape. Okay, and then that will give me out of insert mode and back into command mode, where I can move the cursor around with H, J, K, and L. So in insert mode, H, J, K, and L will just literally type those keys into the text editor. But in command mode, which means I have escape pressed and I see the blocky looking cursor, that means that H, J, K, and L will move the cursor around like that. Alright, so that is the basics of what you need to know to move around and edit things in Vim. And you can also use the arrow keys in order to navigate around, but I highly recommend that you get used to using H, J, K, and L, because remember at the video when I showed you the hand moving back and forth between the mouse and the keyboard? Well, if your hand is constantly moving back and forth between the arrow keys and the keyboard, like the rest of the keyboard, it's still just as bad as moving between the mouse and the keyboard. It's almost exactly the same because you're constantly displacing your hands. Whereas if you just keep your hand on H, J, K, and L, alright, so it's basically home row. It's actually slightly to the left of home row, where the hands normally rest on the keyboard. So if your hand is just on H, J, K, and L, you can move around in Vim and just practice getting good at this. I would highly recommend just using this when you're programming. Just don't use the arrow keys, don't use the mouse, just move around like this. Okay, now I'm going to show you some other things beyond the most very basic things I just showed you. Another thing is you can copy an entire line by pressing YY. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to try and copy this line 9. So I'm going to press YY. Alright, you got to press it twice. And then I can press P in order to paste that line. So you can see there are just a bunch of handy buttons here inside of command mode inside of Vim. Alright, and if I want to edit this line and change it up a little bit, I can press I to enter insert mode, and then press 2, and then press escape to exit insert mode. Then go back over here and then change this, put a 2 over here as well. So you can see that I'm making changes very rapidly and I'm not even touching the mouse at all. I'm just moving around with the H, J, K, and L right here. Alright, so we've learned about moving around with the H, J, K, and L. We've learned that I is insert mode. Okay, and also I should note that while I brings the cursor to the start of where the block was, you can also press A, and then that will bring the cursor to the end of where the cursor is. So A goes after, and I goes before. Okay, A goes after, and I goes before. Alright, so A and I go to insert mode. And then we learned that YY is to copy a line. And then P is to paste that line. If we don't like this line, we can press U to undo our last change. Alright, and U also works as well for if we were just typing in some characters. Alright, I could press escape and then I could press U, and that would undo that change. Okay, so I can undo even more changes if I want. There's an entire change history. Alright, looks like that's the end of it. And I can press Control, hold down Control, and then press R, and then that will start redoing the changes. So I'll just hold that down, redo all the changes, hold down U, and that will undo all the changes. So Control R is redo, and U is undo. Alright, and then I can save regular in here using Command S. Great, and also I want to take a moment to describe why I like using VS Code and Vim instead of just plain old editing files in Vim, like on the terminal, like I was just saying. Like I can edit a file in the terminal like this, and I can press Shift ZZ to save that file in command mode. So why do I use VS Code instead of editing on the terminal like that? Well, that is actually something I used to do, but VS Code has a lot of better functionality for searching globally, searching all files using Command-Shift-F, as well as I generally like the look and feel a lot better. Okay, as well as the extensions can give a lot of power as well. I have a lot of autocomplete extensions. Okay, and also error handling is a lot better in here. Plus it has a built-in terminal you can drag up from the bottom here. So that is why I prefer using Vim instead of VS Code. Alright, and now let's continue on with, I'll give you a couple more basic commands. I don't really want to overwhelm you, so let's just review real fast. H, J, K, and L, used to move around. H and L are left and right. Alright, and then K and J are up and down, so K is up, and J is down, and I recommend just practicing this if you want to get good at it. Okay, and then we learned that YY was to copy a line, P is to paste it. Now I'll teach you a new one. You can press DD to delete the current line. Okay, so D for delete. I can delete all these lines. I can undo those deletions. Alright, YY is copy, P is paste, DD is delete. Alright, U is undo, Control R is redo. Alright, and guys, let me know if you're wanting a more advanced tutorial on this. There's a lot of more fancy things you can do, but this is like the basics to get you probably like 70% of the way there to becoming that 2x version of yourself, that twice as fast programmer. And the reason why you're twice as fast is because you can just literally perform more actions per second than the regular version of you can. So guys, let me know in the comments if you want to see that more advanced video. Leave a like on the video if it brought value to you, and subscribe for more videos like this. And guys, I'll see you in the next one.